So I was hoping you guys could go into a bit about how you kind of structure virality. Like right now we're following like the more is better approach. It's not, no, it's not. Brooke knows. Like just do more, just do another video show, just do more podcasts, just do more of this, and that you seem to have the chillest life ever. And
so I was telling her I tried to build it that way.
Yeah, and everything you do seems, well, it seems planned out and effective. Yeah. So I could use a dose of how you're doing that more intentionally.
My life or my videos?
Well, specifically the nut I'm trying to crack is the result of the content spread.
So I would say that meditation helps in the morning. I read a lot, and then what I do is I'll get kind of ideas, and I'll put them into a Evernote. I probably have 350 video ideas, and so if I'm lacking, I force myself to write every single morning. So that's part of it.
To write?
Right, every morning for about 30 minutes to an hour to put ideas down, because it just kind of keeps. Jerry Seinfeld, they used to say the Seinfeld calendar, where every morning he'd write jokes even if they were terrible, and then he'd cross it off on his list, because it just kind of keeps the creativeness going. But whenever I'll look through my list and I'll go, okay, this one hits me today, and I'll talk about this. And then I always plan my video with the beginning and the ending and nothing else besides that. So the beginning has to be a strong beginning. So literally if you look at I don't have my journal with me, it says strong beginning, memorable ending. That's how I do every single one of them. So what's my strong beginning? So like the video that did 80 million views you were just watching, you have to stop them from scrolling. So the first 3 seconds have to be hardcore. In case you didn't know, one day you're gonna die. And I'm gonna show you why the job that you hate is a waste of your life. People are like, what? And the hell is a waste? But like it stops people scrolling, right? And so that's the scroll stop. The second one was the one I was telling you about earlier today, which is, I started off by saying, in case you didn't, so the first one, that one had 80 million views, this one's at 50 million. I said, in case, I have some bad news from you. You're being brainwashed. And then I talk about how, literally people are being brainwashed by the media and they think it's more negative, but then I show them how it's more positive and all of that. So I started it off.
What's that one? What's
that called? That's the next one.
You're being brainwashed.
If you scroll over from that one you were just watching, it should be next to it. But if you go back to the beginning of that one was, I have some bad news from you, you're being brainwashed. So people are going, wait, what? The way that I ended that video, which I told you earlier, is people always want resolve. Like if you've ever seen a movie that doesn't have a good ending, you hate the movie and you still get those feelings of hate whenever you think about it. Like there's a movie I was telling people about earlier called The Mist, and I've never seen it, but everyone who's seen it talks about how much they hate it because it was a good movie, the ending didn't end the way that they wanted to, and they didn't get that good feel-good feeling of resolve. And I try to end all of mine with resolve. So the one that starts off with, got bad news for you, you're being brainwashed, goes into talking about statistics about how great the world actually is, how incredible it is, and then I end with it. The memorable ending is to get people to feel the resolve and then also want to share it with people. Is what I say in the end is, if you continue to eat what the media feeds you, you're going to have to deal with the sickness that comes in your mind from it. And so it makes people be like, oh, I'm in control, because I talk about controlling your own brainwash. And then so what I do is I say, all right, that's the beginning, that's the ending. I want to see this as like a miniature movie where there's got to be some sort of climax where I'm feeling something inside that I don't want, like it's something's, what's going to happen? I don't know what's going to happen. And they get that where it's like, I try to take them, like if you were to visualize it, start, ending, I see it like this and it goes up and then it starts to go down and then there's a resolve. So they get all of the feel-good feelings you would in a movie. With the way it starts, there's some sort of climax, something happens, but then it resolves at the end and makes them feel good, and then they share. So like when I plan it,
you get most of your clients from people watching this video?
All of them, 100%.
All your clients.
I've never spent any money on Facebook.
So it's just from your videos.
Yeah. Every video of mine is organic. So if you look at it, it literally says
money on this.
It might lower it, to be honest with you.
It might what?
It might lower my engagement. I don't know. I've heard that putting money into Facebook can lower the engagement.
Yeah, I've heard so many weird things.
Yeah, I don't know if it's true or not. But
thing is, your profit's a lot higher when you're not spending.
Oh, yeah.
What's that?
Hell yeah.
Your profit's also a lot higher.
Yeah, that's the great.
You're just making it.
Yeah, it was 100% organic. So, but that's the way that I see it, structuring one. So for people that are like out there that are like, you know, I don't have a good camera and they're all sitting there like, I just have my iPhone. I say there's 4 parts to it. So CT helps with part number 4 the most, which is, I mean, you do all of them. But part number 4 is one of the most important parts. So like number 1 is content. Your video can, like the quality can suck. You guys saw with that video. I literally lowered the quality on purpose to make it look like shit so that therefore I could put it up there and people wouldn't feel like it was manufactured to be a viral video. So like so that's the first thing. Like content has to be good of what you're saying. The second thing is the quality. The second thing is the consistency. Facebook rewards consistency. So if you're consistently putting it out there, then they'll consistently start giving your stuff to more people. They also have a loyalty, just so in case you guys didn't know, they will show, and I have proof of this now because of the platform that I'm able to get on, is they show loyalty of people watching. So it shows, this is what percentage of people see 3% or 3 seconds of your stuff. From 3 seconds to 1 minute, this is your drop off. And if you have a big drop off right there, then they're gonna show your stuff to less people. So like what we thought was part of the algorithm is 100% part of the algorithm. But if you can get people to stay to 1 minute, they usually finish the entire video, and that's when my ads, an ad pops up through Facebook is at 1 minute. And so,
so it's watch time just like YouTube.
It's watch time, but they see how many people, the watch time, but their factors what they call the loyalty, between 3 seconds and 1 minute.
Okay.
So if they can stay to 1 minute, they're gonna boost your engagement so more people see it. And so the first thing is the content, how good the actual content is. The second thing is the consistency. The third thing is the quality of it, which should be, is it shot in 4K? Does that really matter?
Can you pull off?
It doesn't matter a whole lot. But then the fourth thing is distribution, which is the hardest part for people. So you can have a great video, but if you can have those 3 things, but sometimes it won't go viral anyways. So that's why you need like distribution. And that's where most people put money into Facebook ads. But I think what CT does that's so amazing is that he then goes and pays for slots on pages, and those people share it, and it looks organic to Facebook because it's people coming in from watching it on a shared page. So distribution is super huge, it's the 4th part, but most people miss that part.
Also engagement.
Yeah, engagement has to be in. I'm saying as far as making the video itself.
Oh, right. Definitely.
But then engagement.
What you can do.
Yeah.
Selfishly, I'm really curious how you extract the story. Like how you go in and find
Generally,
that story.
I typically do it in more of an interview process, because a lot of times I'm trying to extract someone's powerful story, whether that's from a specific event or tell me about how you felt during this thing. We ask a series of questions, sometimes it's 45 minutes, and then we just condense that down into a full edited, multi-shot video that's as compelling as possible. And then we use a mix of B-roll, and then we use additionally some engagement loops. So one of the, basically grabbing their attention within the first 3 seconds is definitely the most powerful because it stops them. But most people don't actually listen to sound, so we use the subtitles. So we, get it transcribed, and we put the actual subtitles.
People don't listen to sound.
Right. So
80%.
80%.
80, I read 83.
Yes, it's growing.
Wow.
It was 60% like a year and a half ago. So it's more and more people are just not wanting to use audio, but there are people are also
watching it work.
Yeah, or wherever, or like they're like if they can watch it without words, they will. That's the point.
Yeah.
So adding the subtitles.
Doctor's office.
Right. So most people are just not. Especially if you give them the option. If it's no audio and no subtitles, they're gonna leave. I mean, it's just it means nothing to them. So we do a couple of things. We play with that. So a lot of times we'll emphasize words. So we don't animate the words, or we'll use those words because we know they're reading it. Then we mix in with there. Usually, once it's transcribed, we go and try to find B-roll clips, usually from like some with digital rights.
Video blocks.
Yeah, exact. Video blocks is a good one. And we just use B-roll that will help illustrate the idea as well. So the idea is that you're just constantly watching something, because look, a 2 to 3 minute video of just talking head with nothing, you just kind of get bored. And so when you're able to add ways to further illustrate the idea, one of them was like the This Is America video that went viral for Jamie Wheel. We did that video and really just started, as he was talking about the actual music video, we were using B-roll from the video, but then he would make a reference to like Dolly Parton, and we would show a clip of Dolly Parton, and we were just illustrating that idea in a way that was keeping it compelling. But then the other thing that we do is we add a progress bar. So behind the words, there'll be like a little black bar, so it's easier to read the subtitles anyway. But then we use a little progress bar. Gary Vee's also done this quite a bit. But then I've seen some other ones that are basically it'll ask a question. So like right where, you know, for yours, you used kind of the meme style videos, what we call them, is where it looks like the video in the middle, but it looks like a meme above and below it, right? So if yours was why quit your job, what was the title?
Why your job's a waste of your life.
Right, that's on the video as you see it before you even start talking.
The title bars is what
title bars, yeah. So we've had that. We've also, we'll use that for the first 5 to 10 seconds, then it'll fade away, and then we'll start using other things like questions, and it'll say like, you know, we'll ask a question, it'll make a statement, and then it'll show a countdown of that timer. So you just naturally, it keeps asking questions. We call these engagement loops, and we've been trying this in various different ways. Is like, what's the way to keep this person from not wanting to leave? And that's by opening questions, having a progress bar, all of these things will do that. And then the other one would just probably be that we try to also in some way ask them to, you know, if you have, like you said, leaving certain things out, but knowing that they'll probably want to have an answer to this, is that we tell them down in the comments, which is usually where you can drop a link to something as well, but we do the engagement. But then additionally after that, we've developed like a manufactured virality process, which is utilizing all of the algorithms just for creating the video, getting that right. But the additional piece that we do is we pay Facebook, we tip them, is what I like to call it, is that we give them a little bit of money to, because if you give Facebook too much money, they'll spend it. And so we'll start out with like $1 or $2, and we'll just use Facebook's boost feature and just do, paid to your own audience, and Facebook will go find your loyal fans and try to spend that dollar over whatever period of time per day or whatever that you want to set it to, and they'll literally show it to your best fans. And those people are the ones that are going to like, comment, share the most. So it's like, we like to do that. And then we combine, additionally, we go on the ads platform and we create custom audiences outside of that, from whatever email list you have or whatever, and we try to then show it to those people. And then additionally, we have our distribution partners. So when you combine all of the distribution, your custom audiences, plus your actual Facebook fan page, and you do it in just the right amount of budget, and also the right amount of time. So from the time that you launch it, within the first 24 to 48 hours, we try to get all of this executed. And you can find typically that if it meets all of the requirements and it's a good story and it's short and keeps their attention, it's gonna go viral. And
sounds
also,
easy, right?
I would also say the other piece is probably no ask. I mean, people just, if they get to the whole thing and then they feel like you tried to sell them at the end, they just will leave. So if you do no ask in that first video, it will do well. It will do well.
Yeah.
I thought you were gonna go into like story arc.
Oh, well, story arc is another one.
So you're also, I would say you're probably a lot like me. You don't seem like a big like feely guy. You're more like probably.
I'm totally feely.
Are you?
Yeah. I'm totally.
I feel like you're analytical always.
Well, so that's probably my default mode, but like my core, I'm totally feely.
So then you can write stories if you really want to tap.
Oh yeah.
I'm more in my head most of the time, and so it's harder for me to get there.
Here's the the selfish reason for the ask is like I'm in rediscovery mode of like my story, my message, the people that I want to serve. And so what I'm curious is when you're asking questions or crafting that story arc, I'm trying to use that as a filter for like, okay, where does that resonate in terms of like stories that have happened in my life, and which one of those feel like something that leads me closer to that direction.
Right, so for me, it's asking a lot of specific questions that's talking about what's a time that you failed? What are the times that you've been scared the most? Because when someone's expressing vulnerability, it's powerful. You know, when I'm talking about going through a challenge that I've absolutely faced, and you can emphasize that, and people can feel human, that creates connection. And so in the story arc that you're talking about, it's being able to, I like to get as many ups and downs. And so you talk about the meaningful or the powerful opening, right? And then the meaningful ending, is that what you called it?
It was the strong beginning.
Strong beginning.
Memorable ending.
I was trying to reuse your jargon. My bad. I forgot. I screwed up.
I don't remember it sometimes.
Yeah, it's really starting out with something that creates that hook of like you're saying I'm going to show you something, and now they realize they're stuck until they get the answer because psychology just doesn't want that answer to not be met. Yeah. And so in the middle of there, to me, I like to get as much emotional ups and downs. For him, he likes to definitely use data. For me, it's about when we interviewed someone for 45 minutes and I'm trying to compress that down to a good 4-minute version, I try to keep remove all the ums, ahs, the pauses, but I try to build it in a way that I'm gonna tell you this and then kind of slow build up and then go up and hit something really powerful and then kind of go back down, up, as many of those in that arc that we can get. Because if it's just an up, whatever, and done, it's almost boring. People like the up and the down. They like roller coasters sometimes. And in the essence of that, when you have grabbed someone's attention and then you grab them and created some sparked an emotion, that connection has been made. They just generally, as long as you also finish it out and answer their question and you didn't ask them for something, they trust you. It's a great first impression, and typically they're much more willing to share and help share and engage with you as a person, follow you, whatever.
That was the exact reason why I told you that one email should be a video, because that email gave me all the feels. Like when I read it, because I still remember he sent an email out and I was like, it was the email about, now that you have a daughter, you miss the times when you used to be single, but if she ever left.
Post.
Yeah. It was an email that came to me as I got it in an email when I was in Venice, Italy. My girlfriend literally
Brooke reposted it as a podcast.
And so it runs it, yeah.
So it's like literally the thing. What happened was I remember my girlfriend was taking a shower. We were in Venice, Italy, and I was reading this, and I was like, holy shit, I felt this way. And so like you've already done it, you know how to do it, and that was it. Like you went through the ups and downs of like the feeling of, oh man, now that I'm older, I miss the times when I used to party, but all I wanted to be was a millionaire, like all of those things. Now that my daughter's here, when if she was ever taken, I sometimes just want a quiet night or to be single again, whatever it was. But if she's ever taken away from me, all I would want is a crying baby. It's like those are like I'm like getting the feels right now thinking about it.
Saying my word.
Yeah, see? And so literally it's like you already know how to do it. You just have to allow yourself to get in that headspace. And that's why I do it every morning, is because I have to put myself there.
I'm doing a ton of like business content because I think that's like what my people want, but the truth is
they don't.
That they don't.
So I think what they want is they want the human connection.
Yeah.
Is what they want. Yeah. And then they'll buy from you.
You're so right.
Yeah. Like you just need to stop talking about the business stuff and start talking about the struggles of life, the struggles of being an entrepreneur, what you've been through, what your life has been like. And just here's the thing that's hardest.
Yeah.
The hardest thing for people.
My entire podcast is based off authentic vulnerability.
Dude, I swear to God, this guy's basically like me. We do the same exact. It's so crazy because literally the one thing that I wrote down was that I have to be authentic and 100% vulnerable when I started my podcast. And so literally, I've never edited my podcast except for to put a bumper in the beginning or the end. I've knocked stuff over. I've sneezed. All of these things. Because number one, it's hard to put out a lot of episodes like we both do, and I don't want to edit it. And number two, I thought to myself, I remember when my dad first died. He died on a Thursday, and I went back to school on Monday. Didn't tell anybody about it. I didn't want anybody to know. I was 15 years old, and no 15-year-old boy talks about emotions or ever feels them, right? And so literally, I was terrible at that. Now, I can honestly say this to you guys because I've said this enough and I've gotten past it, but I'm so comfortable with vulnerability now, but I never was before. And so when I started my podcast, I was like, I'm going to tell everybody the worst parts of my life. And now that's what gets you the message of, Rob, I didn't have an alcoholic father, but my mother was, she used to mentally abuse me, Like, so they hear my story that's not even close to the same story as theirs, but they feel that connection of, because what do we all want to be? We all just want to be understood, right? We all just want to feel like we're understood and feel like people love us. And so when they hear a story from somebody else that's authentic and vulnerable, then they can go, oh, me too, right? And like in Brené Brown, like we all think that if we're vulnerable, that it's gonna make us seem weak. But in reality, people look at us and they're like, that person's so courageous, I wish that I could do that too. And
but
so
I think it can be done wrong too. I mean, I think
oh, for sure. It can be faked.
Genuine,
it can be faked, for sure. Yeah.
And I think you have to figure out who you're talking to and what you're teaching them. I think that will help a lot.
Yeah.
Oh, I agree.
That'll help give it some direction.
I also kind of feel like it's the new drama. I feel like authenticity, vulnerability is almost becoming. It can get me more likes and engagement.
Right.
So I do feel that there's, it's almost, in some ways can feel manufactured as well.
Why are
Yes.
you doing it?
And I feel that shirt and things.
What's that?
I'm feeling that in the fitness space.
Yeah.
It's driving me crazy.
Well, it's because, you go to all these conferences, everyone's like, you gotta be authentic, you gotta be vulnerable. And so people are trying to now do that, and it's a balance.
Well, there's also, vulnerability assumes that you're telling like a deep and dark story. Vulnerability is just like trueness.
Yeah.
It's like, it's the openness to getting hurt. It's
True.
It's removing the walls.
Yeah.
It's not necessarily just sharing all of your dirty laundry.
Right. For sure.
Right, and then you know, you're not really getting the true, authentic version of that person because they're not literally going around doing that all the time. They're just not
trying to
posting,
be,
doing it.
they're trying to be.
And so it's like, actually, there's a time and a place for those things, but I think that really, authenticity really just means that, I mean, we're always putting out a version of stuff
Right.
that we want to.
Everyone
In this
struggles.
video you mentioned about me, like I wasn't sharing any sob story about me. It's just like a truth about my life.
It doesn't have to make people cry, but it has to make people be like, I felt that way.
Yeah.
You know? Because
I felt that way.
I felt that way before. It makes them feel understood. I'm not the only one. You know?
How did you feel right after you wrote that video?
Great.
It's like a
And then how
release,
did you
right?
feel when it was released?
Great.
And then how did you feel when people gave you the feedback?
Great.
Yeah.
Like even the haters.
Right. Great.
Yeah, there was that felt bulletproof at the end. In fact, the one thing I didn't like about it was that there was B-roll added. I
Yeah.
was like, oh, this takes away from like the of it.
Yeah.
That was the only thing I didn't like.
Felt a little bit too manufactured. You wanted it more raw.
Right.
You feel like it's more raw when it's just you and there's no. It felt more like produced, and you think
Right.
less produced, which maybe it would have done better. Who knows? You don't know. There's a lot of videos that have gone viral that have no B-roll.
Sure.
That one video that I have has absolutely no B-roll, and it's like maybe some people just like. Everything's so plastic in manufacture now with Instagram and everything being so fake that everyone's starving for authenticity. And not bullshit authenticity, but like actual authenticity where maybe an unedited video will do better than other videos, you know? And so it's like B-roll is great. I use it in almost all of my videos, but I think maybe I should take notes of my own stuff. My most viral video has no B-roll, so maybe I should do less of it.
It really does
you
have
know?
a message. Meaning, like, if you're telling a story that's about
It helps.
yourself,
It helps if it's-
I don't think you need to tell that story with B-roll. But if you're trying to specifically tell an idea, showing the numbers on the screen and the stats and the facts, like and things like you're doing, that was the most important part. The fact that if you didn't have that paper, what would that have been like? You know, you had something to. That's what the visual storytelling to me. There's definitely an essence of that, and that's the visual piece for you that was there was your emotion, was your delivery of that message was more important than showing B-roll.
Yeah, my personal takeaway from hearing your TV talk is think about it a little bit and then stop thinking so damn much.
Yeah, that's true.
It's like be intentional and then stop thinking about it so much.
Yeah.
Or stop thinking about it so much and then think about how to position it.
Yeah.
Or,
Do you keep a journal like each day, like struggles you go to? And
What?
all that stuff?
Yeah, I keep a personal journal. Yeah.
To certain points?
Yeah.
I'm sure you can find stuff in there where you can try to put yourself back in that,
Hey, come on in.
that mode of what you're thinking and feeling if you really wanted to make a story. That's something you're not doing right now.
Thanks for that, guys. And I think Brooke is right too.
Great. So we're
I
gonna.
haven't really clarified who my message is for since I've kind of transitioned.
Well, I mean, you have to think about it. Like entrepreneurs struggle like crazy. So like you have mostly entrepreneurs that follow you, I'm sure. So instead of talking about business, why don't you talk about the struggles of being an entrepreneur or the struggles you've been through? And they might be 10 million views, but if you get to your core audience and you're authentic, they automatically just trust you more anyways because they're like, oh, this is a real guy. So you might get 100,000 views instead of 10 million, and it's exponentially better than what you have done or what you normally get, but you're actually connecting with the people on a deeper level, which is what really matters with those customers, you know?
Thanks, guys.
Can you define what capitalism means to you since it's not really a political thing?
I mean, capitalism autonomy is personal autonomy. I need a phrase that has less syllables.